In this video, we're going to talk about the different material classes that archaeologists deal with on a daily basis. Here in front of me are a number of modern examples and replicas. Starting on the left, we have lithics. These are perhaps the oldest artifact class, because 99% of the archaeological record is characterized by the Stone Age, the time before things like ceramics and metal and writing, the things that people and societies feel comfortable with today. The examples I have here are the Venus of Willendorf, which is a 30,000-year-old statue produced in Central Europe, made out of limestone. Lithics also include things like manuports, which, here we have things like obsidian, which don't occur naturally in Albuquerque, so they clearly had to have come from a different part of New Mexico and were brought here by people. They also include things I don't have examples of, like spear tips, arrowheads, and that sort of thing. The next oldest artifact class, or maybe equally as old as lithics, are things made out of bone, or bone that have a certain cultural attachment to them. They are, the faunal remains of things that humans have interacted with, like dogs, as you see here. The remains of things that we've domesticated, so this is a cow horn, or they can also be different carvings of bones. Ecofacts, while more rare, are probably also as old, and ecofacts include things like corn kernels and wood, things that don't preserve well in the archaeological record. Pottery, while perhaps not the oldest material class for artifacts, is probably the most studied one by archaeologists. And it's the most studied one for two reasons. First is the ubiquity of pottery in the archaeological record. Once pottery starts being produced, people produce a ton of it, and it's very common across archaeological sites. Second, based on style, design, function, and sometimes even chemical composition, you can figure out where and when certain things were made. So this is a bowl produced in Istanbul about 10 years ago. However, if we found this in an archaeological context, we might think that it's Middle Eastern based on the design. So if you're in Turkey, it makes sense that you're finding something like this. And based on the glaze, it'd have to be either late medieval or early modern. So right there you get when something was made and where, just by how it looks. Likewise, this is an example from Sicily, probably only about 5 years old, but it's made to look like an imitation Greek vase. And so if you found this in an archaeological context where other things in the context were Greek, you might figure that this was also a Greek vase, and the design on it might let you know roughly when it was made. Metal, because it tends to have certain stylistic characteristics to it as well, can be used about the same way. You can use different pieces of metal to try to date things based on how they appear. Likewise, metal is used to produce things like coins, and coins have dates on them. So dates will of course help you date when a certain context at an archaeological site is from. Likewise, metal is used to make things like weapons, and weapons have different style over time as well. So if you found, it'd be very rare to find something that's this preserved, but if you found a weapon this preserved, you can typically date the site based on how the weapon looks. Glass is a material class a lot like pottery. While glass appears a lot later in the archaeological record, glass can be used in archaeological context to figure out where things are from and when they were made, in much the same way as you can do with pottery. So, based on style and design, you can figure out kind of where and when something is from, and the chemical composition, much like pottery, can help you figure out where the materials in the glass are coming from. Once you get into the historic period, you're going to get plastics as well. Plastics obviously help you date artifacts, because when you get into plastics, you're post-World War II, basically. As a final material class, you have textiles. And textiles are a weird material class because while clearly they're probably as old as lithics, people have been wearing clothes for thousands of years, they're not common in the archaeological record just because they don't preserve. So while textiles should be something widely studied by archaeologists, they're just not found in a great enough quantity to yield a lot of different studies of them. Two other terms you'll hear a lot in relation to material class are feature and site. A feature is essentially a non-movable artifact. So it's something like this fire pit here. If you come across this fire pit on a survey, you'll know it's a man-made feature and you record it as such. In excavation, you might come upon it by going down in the different layers of soil. You'll come to a circle of rock with dark soil in the middle that's turned dark because of the charcoal, which coincidentally is one of my dog's favorite things to eat. But you know it's a man-made feature. An archaeological site then is a concentration of artifacts and or features. So if you're out on a survey and you come across this, you'll know you've got a site because it's a bunch of different artifacts and a feature in an enclosed space. Definitions for what comprise a site are different depending on where you are in the world. While almost all archaeologists will recognize the material classes I presented here today, there are some problems with recording your data strictly according to material class. For instance, take the Venus of Willendorf. Is it better recorded as a lithic because it's made out of limestone? Or is it better recorded as some sort of religious object, a statue, a figure? It's up for debate. Likewise, the Lewis chessmen, chess pieces from the 12th century in northern Scotland made out of whale or walrus bone and ivory, pose a similar problem because are they better recorded as game pieces or are they better recorded as bone? Drinking horns will pose the same problem because are they horn or are they tableware because people drank out of them? And likewise, parts of buildings, are they features because they're parts of the building or are they artifacts? It's up for debate. So keep in mind, there are different ways to classify the things you find in the field. You can classify them by the material class they come from, as I demonstrated with the examples here today, or sometimes it's better to talk about the artifacts you find in terms of functional class. What were they used for? This has been kind of a crash course into the different material classes of artifacts. Over the course of this video series, you're going to get a lot more information on these in a lot more detail.